and you're watching Tea Time with me, Shaili Chopra. A rare interview, and that too on the golf course. Hard to catch Gautam Thapar when he joins you for a game of golf. But the good news is that not only is his golf doing fantastic, he's going places with his group, the Avantha. We'll come back with the Avantha group, which is now $4 billion plus, their ambitions and much more. But first, the top stories. On the show today, meet the guru of golf in India Inc., Gautam Thapar.
The search is constant. You can't suddenly sit back and say, oh, okay, now I've done 9 acquisitions, now I should relax.
In news, Phil Mickelson, Lee Westwood, defending champ Anthony Kim all prepare for the Masters at Shell Houston Open. Gautam Thapar, welcome to the show. Good start to your game.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Where did you play last, besides here?
Singapore, actually, last weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I noticed you've been traveling a whole lot for business. Do you manage that much for golf as well?
And you have to put the golf in there. You have to plan the golf. The business is... It all has to be planned. I don't think there's that much time anymore to just suddenly get up and go and play a round of golf. So... unfortunately.
Business is on the course?
Partially, not a lot yet. I think the Avantha Masters allows us to do quite a bit. Although I don't play the Pro-Am, there's such a... Well, you played it this year. So
well, yeah.
It's a
Until there was thunderstorm and lightning.
But no, I think it allows us to get a lot done on that day. Otherwise, my preference is definitely to go out and play with my friends because it's competitive. I enjoy it. Gets the juices flowing.
Do you make the money or do you let them make money off you?
There's no such thing as letting anybody do anything. There's no quota given and none asked.
That's also your business strategy, isn't it?
No, I think that we execute, and that's what we do well. And as long as we keep doing that, yeah.
So $4 billion and counting, where's the group going?
Well, hopefully doubled in the next 5 years at least. At least the investments are in place and the bigger companies are growing fast. Smaller ones have to catch up.
And by bigger you mean?
CG, BILT, Avantha Power when we commission. So these will be the bigger ones. Smaller ones are getting there. We should have completed a few acquisitions that we were not able to do, mainly because either valuations were out of the range based upon a lower performance, so people still expected the same amount of value for a performance that just wasn't there because of it. So we backed off on a number of things. So I think from that point of view, we're a little bit behind. But overall, business in India has been very good.
And valuations is not something you bend upon. You'll always wait for the right price.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is that fantastic in these businesses, at least, that you just have to have it. Yeah, better.
Okay, shall we?
Okay, you see this?
Yeah.
These 2 lines here?
Yeah.
All right? Wherever they are pointing is exactly where the ball is going to go.
I'm going to move a little right.
Your feet, yeah.
I'd rather use a club that I think will get me a sure shot than something that's not going to get me anywhere.
When I started playing golf, I had an uncle, Surinder Lal. He was a national amateur champion, and his daughter, Nonita, my cousin, has been ladies amateur champion, I think 7 or 8 times. And so I landed up, I think I was all of 6 or 7 or 8 years old, all enthusiastic to play golf simply because, fancy. I was dreaming of new clubs and gloves and everything else. And then he took out this rusty old 5-iron and with a leather grip.
Oh, that's how it starts, he said.
And gave it to me, and he said, oh, okay, off you go. And I said, what is this? Where's my golf set? And he said, you don't need anything. He says, when you've learned to tee off, hit your second shot, chip and putt with this 5-iron, that's when I can recommend to your father that maybe he should.
But it's so interesting you said that you started your game with a rusty iron and you started your business
with
when
a
you had.
Business.
Well, you did have several of them that needed some serious rejig.
Maybe that's the story of my life. Here goes Gautam Thapar. He's good at rusty businesses.
Well, that's actually been quite a turnaround story for you, Gautam, hasn't it?
No, it has. It's been good. It's been fun. The hardest part is actually to build a organization and a team that is bigger than the individual companies. And I think that's the real challenge.
Do you mean it from an owner professional point of view? Is that the missing link?
It's not the owner professional thing. It's more about putting a framework in place that would allow the group to function even if I were not around.
Times like these where there's competition, there are cost issues, there's global concern, do promoters have to be a little harsher than they are normally on businesses to keep them going?
See, I don't think that I need to tell my CEOs that, that they need to cut cost or they need to do this. I think they are all pretty seized of that, and you would not put probably somebody in a CEO's job who was not competitive. And you can be quiet and competitive, or you can be aggressive and competitive, but you're still competitive. And everybody wants to have that higher gross margin, that higher net margin.
Which one of the two are you? The quiet and
well, you tell me.
the competitive or the aggressive?
You've interviewed me enough times, so you should know by now. All right. No, I think I'm both. I think look, part of the job out here, is also you have to know when to pull which trigger, when to pull which string. By and large, I'm fairly calm about things, but I don't like complacency. There you go. Simple game, isn't it? Nice shot. Pretty good. Nice putt.
We're talking about too fast, too slow, but when you take business, how do you take it? What is the Gautam Thapar way of doing business?
Horses for courses. Sometimes you need to be fast and sometimes you need to be slow. Ultimately, you have to get to your objective, right? So, I said before
that one would make you serious money. Ooh.
I said at the end of the day, it's not fast or slow. It's just execution. You have to decide. Which way do you want to go? To me, I think we need to spend much more time building the team, building the back end, and then building the business.
There's something that I haven't come across in our previous interview is that now you're talking more about doing stuff to leave behind with the company. What is this whole thing about doing enough to let the company sort of cruise control? You want to take a back seat?
I'm a third generation family business. Whether the family has gone its own way or not, I still see myself as a third generation family person, and the businesses that I have are third generation businesses.
But you did turn them around in a way that they almost became entrepreneurial because, you didn't get them really in the best state.
And I think that going forward, that's not something I'd like to change in the DNA of those organizations, in the DNA of the CEOs that we would choose to head those. You want to have something in place that is a framework, and that's the best term I can use for it. Succession, I think that'll take care of itself over time. The search is constant. You can't suddenly sit back and say, oh, okay, now I've done 9 acquisitions, now I should relax.
You've bettered that for sure.
That's a better shot, yeah. There's more. Yeah.
What's happening with Avantha? In terms of business cycles, do you think you're in serious investment mode? or the acquisition story, given that Europe must have thrown up good opportunities in its state of weakness?
We've been in investment acquisition mode now for the last 3 years. So if you actually look back, 2006 was probably the first time when we could actually go out and acquire. Till then, it was still sorting out the problems from the 90s. And it took till 2006 more or less to come to a point where we had enough scale and size in the two main businesses to start thinking about looking at investing in other businesses as we started harvesting. Also the time we rebranded, also the time where we felt we could harvest a little bit from the existing businesses and plow them into a new business. Okay. And so that's when we started. So we have been in a way investing now more or less acquiring and investing since late 2006. Mm-hmm. And the sort of businesses that we are in, I don't see that stopping. You know.
And you've traditionally, at least one has noticed, been highly either US or Europe bound. Is that something that you still intend doing? Nothing you find towards the east? China would have been another space to look at?
It's not that. It's actually we've been bound in that direction simply because what we needed was available in those geographies.
Which is?
Technology, very often, in the case of especially CG, because the world's biggest players in transmission and distribution all come from Europe. ABB, Siemens, Alstom. So ultimately you go there. The US, just the size of the market is you can't ignore it. And you are in a situation where as the economy opens up, as competition increases, that your global competitors who are here are able to bring their technology, their R&D, everything into the same environment and arena that you're playing in. So if you're not going to make those acquisitions and start building the base for your own technology, recognizing that in this country you have the power to influence the market or the direction in which the market goes because you are the largest installer, producer, seller of high tension transmission distribution equipment, you will miss the bus. So a lot of what we did was also based upon just the fact that we really had to do it in a certain sense.
But by sheer growth and growth opportunities in the years ahead, does paper sound like that screaming opportunity? No.
To me, yes. I'll give you a little example. I mean, China 20 years ago was where we are, or maybe slightly ahead of where we are today. Chinese paper industry is today 85 million tons. All right, Indian is 10.3 million tons or 10.5 million tons. So even if we don't grow to 85 million tons in 20 years, even if we go to 60 million tons, that's still 6 times where you are. So my challenge is to get the guys to think bigger. Ball's in the right place. Yeah, good swing. Yeah. Look at that. You almost outdriven. Oh, you have outdriven me. Wow.
That's not bad then.
Wow. Oh. I think maybe I have an alternate career as a coach.
Thanks. Well, that you might be. You're fairly gentle and nice.
Yeah.
At least on the course, I know. Surely not in the boardroom.
No, boards are interesting. Boardrooms are interesting. Yeah. How to put together a board that works it's quite interesting.
No, I'm sure. And that's something you probably have only learned on the job, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because when you started out, these systems were never in place in the group.
No. It was like any business, family.
And you never wanted to come back from the US and do this stuff, did you?
No, not at all.
What did you want to be if you hadn't had to come back, take care of the Thapar group?
I was very laid back. I mean, whatever that came my way that was interesting, I probably would have done it.
If any of your competitors are listening to this and listening to Gautam Thapar say, I was very laid back, that's the last thing they've seen about you.
Now, responsibility, accountability, it brings its own set of challenges and behavioral change. So you can't be laid back, but you have to, I think managing people and managing the aspirations and matching their aspirations with your aspiration, it takes up a lot of time.
I know you have done acquisitions, but to double this story of 4 billion plus to 10.
once you've gone the way we have, you can't suddenly just withdraw back, because now you're spread around the world, so opportunities come everywhere. So you know.
But how much do you push yourself, right? That's something one predetermines.
No, always. I mean, the search is constant. You can't suddenly sit back and say, oh, okay, now, I've done 9 acquisitions, now I should relax. What is happening is that as the center of gravity of the economy are shifting to the east, so you definitely want to look a little more eastwards. And in this case, eastward may be actually looking at India, looking in the Middle East, looking to Africa. When do you start, planting the seeds of that? It may take 3, 4. I mean, I had set my eyes on Malaysia in 2000 and 2001, but it took me to 2006 to go and be able to do it. But and that was a big learning to cultivate people, to burnish your credentials, to make them see that what you see is what you get, and that you're a straight person, that you're sustainable, you believe in all those things. They do their own homework, and so it takes 5 or 6 years sometimes.
But, has the viewpoint, though, now that it's been several years, and it's just not you but other conglomerates in India as well, acceptability has gone up hugely of the Indian conglomerate now when they go out there in the market?
Yes and no. I mean, when the world is shrinking and so economies have problems, foreign direct investment sometimes is not so welcome. All right, so
particularly from a people point of view.
Particularly from a people point of view. So, what has been your behavior? Did you come in, buy assets, strip them, sack people, or did you come in, clean up, invest, add people, become part of the community? Which route have you taken to? Yeah, we've taken the latter.